whether we like it or not. The reality is here in the United States, using credit cards to buy things is just the way things are done. It's become part of the American culture. It's shocking to me how little cash I need on a weekly or even a monthly basis. I suspect most of you are in this situation as well. So it's an important part of our financial lives, and it's important that we choose our credit card wisely. But it's super complicated. So recently I came across a Forbes article that was written in early 2024 where they looked at over 200 credit cards. They scored them on almost 100 different factors. I thought it was really well done. And today I want to walk through that report with you to share with you Forbes' top 9 credit cards. Be sure to stay to the end because I'm going to share with you which one I personally use as well. Okay, so this is an article that was published March 15th by Ben Luthi. It's called Best Credit Cards for Seniors and Retirees for March of 2024. Like I said, they came up with their top 9 picks. This is the table here. We're going to go through each one. Okay. The first one is, of course, right? It's Amazon's credit card. It's the first one that we're going through. And the reason Forbes picked this is because it gives you 5% cash back when you buy stuff at Amazon. And unfortunately, we're all buying a lot of stuff at Amazon. Also gives you 5% back at Whole Foods. Whole Foods used to be a super pricey place to buy your groceries, but since Amazon bought them a few years ago, the joke used to be, whole paycheck. It's not quite that bad, but 5% back certainly helps if you enjoy going to Whole Foods, which I do. Okay, you get 2% cash back when you buy gasoline for your car and on restaurants, and you get 1% cash back on all other purchases. Now, I like to travel, so one of the things I looked at is whether there's a foreign transaction fee. Do they charge an extra 1%, 2%, 3% when you're overseas and using your credit card? Now, just because there's not a foreign transaction fee doesn't mean it doesn't cost you anything, because there's what the market exchange rate is. Like, let's say you're in Mexico, and maybe the current exchange rate is you get 17 pesos for every dollar. And maybe if you use your credit card, maybe you're only getting 15 pesos instead of 17. So the credit cards are still making money. But the negative of this card is you do have to be a Prime member, and I don't know how big of a negative that is anymore. Estimates are that over two-thirds of all U.S. households are already Prime members. So it means most of us are already Prime members. Okay, the next credit card I want to go over is the Wells Fargo Reflect card. And the reason that Forbes picked this one is it has a long 0% introductory APR rate of 21 months. So if you have a large balance and you want to lower that rate, this is a card that Forbes says you might want to check out. Now, it's important to note, even though that there's 0% APR for the first 21 months, there is a 5% transfer fee on that. And so the negatives, I mentioned the first one. The other negative is if you travel, there's a 3% foreign transaction fee that is not insignificant. And there's really no rewards program or welcome bonus, miles, things like that. Okay, so the next credit card is Wells Fargo Active Cash. And Forbes liked this one because it has an unlimited 2% cash back. And frankly, I like a simple cash back program. I don't get into all these miles. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. I don't like to spend my time that way, tracking all the miles. I have plenty of friends that are really into it, but it's really not my thing. So I like to keep things simple. But this card here, again, it's the Wells Fargo Active Cash, is there's not all these different categories, and you get 5% for this and 1% for this, cash back and 0% on others. It's a 2% cash reward rate on purchases, and there's no annual fee. Okay, there's no foreign transaction fees with this, but the negative is if you do transfer a balance over, there's that 5% balance fee again. Okay, so the next card I want to talk about is the Fidelity Rewards Visa signature. And Forbes says that they picked this because it has a simple 2% rewards rate with no categories to manage, just like the previous card that I just mentioned. This card has no transaction fee. And Forbes says it's really best suited for people that have accounts at Fidelity where the money, the cash back can be deposited back directly into their Fidelity account. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is Costco, another icon here in the United States that many of us are members of. And you get 4% back when you buy fuel or for electric fuel charging, 3% back at restaurants and travel. And then at Costco, which runs on a pretty tight margin, they give you 2% cash back. Again, if you use your Costco card, a credit card overseas, there's no foreign transaction fees, which is a good thing. Now, here's the challenge, though. You get 2% cash back, but guess where you got to spend that money? They give you a certificate, and then you have to spend that in the store. And so for some of you, that's no big deal. For other people, we're like, I want to spend the cash where I want to spend it. And you do need a Costco membership to get this. Okay, continuing on. This is an expensive card. This is the Platinum card with American Express. And for those of you that like to count your miles and like to count all the perks, Forbes says that this is a good card to consider. You'll get access to several airport lounges, hotel credits, Uber credits, expedited airports screening, things like that. So all the perks of travel, you'll be at the front of the line, which my wife likes these travel credit cards. And she doesn't like waiting in line. Nobody likes waiting in line at the airport, but doesn't bug me as it does her. But there's a cost for all these perks that you're going to get, and that is it has an annual fee of $695. And then Forbes goes on to say at the bottom of the article that additionally the card's reward rates are less than stellar compared to other top travel cards. This might be a place to start research, but you want to keep looking. I should mention none of this is an affiliate for me. I came across this Forbes article. It's something I'm looking at, my personal credit card, getting an additional one. I thought it was well done and I wanted to share it with you. In fact, this is the URL for the article. I'll share it again at the end, but if you're interested in going directly to the article. Now, I'm pretty sure that the links in the article are affiliate links. So just be aware of that. But there's no affiliate links here for me. I just want to share this information with you. Okay, the next card is the Blue Cash Preferred from American Express. And this card will give you 6% cash back at supermarkets. It gives you 3% cash back at gas stations. But they say that cash back is reserved in the form of reward dollars that can be redeemed as a statement credit, so you can credit it against your credit card bill, I guess, or you can use it at Amazon.com. So most of us are going to have a way to use that. There is a negative, though, and the negative is it's almost $100 annual fee. It's $95. Okay, the next one is Capital One Venture Rewards Credit Card. And Forbes says that they picked this one because it has simple travel rewards. Essentially, you get 5 miles per dollar at hotels and when you use rent a rental car. And then you get unlimited 2 miles per dollar spent on other purchases. And you also get $100 credit for global entry or TSA pre-check. If you haven't done global entry, it's the line, TSA pre-check. If you haven't done TSA pre-check, the line is getting super long, so I don't want to tell you about the secret, but just between us, it's a pretty good deal if you haven't done it. I recommend getting the global entry card because it lasts longer. And then if you find out, a lot of people aren't traveling internationally, but sometimes something comes up and it's nice. You know how there's that long line when you come back from a foreign country to get back in the United States? You don't wait in that long line. You go in the very short line. So like my wife, I do enjoy that. Okay, let's keep going. The next one's by AARP. So We're all getting older, and AARP is a heck of a deal. They do a great job representing people 50 plus. And of course, they have their own credit card. And the unique thing about AARP's credit card, according to Forbes, is they have a special carve-out, a special program for medical expenses. Unfortunately, that becomes a bigger part of our life. So you get 3% cash back at gas stations and at drugstores, and then 2% on eligible medical expenses. And then you get 1% cash back for everything else. There's no annual fee. And they have a pretty long 0% APR transfer rate as well, or period, for balances that you transfer over in the first 45 days that you have the account. Then you go 15 billing cycles. So I guess that's 14 to 16 months, probably in that range. But there is that 5% transfer fee again. So it's not completely zero cost. And the negative of that is, again, the transfer, the 5% transfer fee. And there is a 3% foreign transaction fee. Okay, so those are Forbes' top 9. But what do I use? What do I like to use for my credit card? And again, I don't play the airline miles games. I want to travel the airlines that is most convenient for me. I want to stay at the hotel that's most convenient for me. And frankly, I just don't want to be tempted to drive a half hour to go to some hotel that I have a loyalty program with. And it's probably foolish of me. I probably should have one of these loyalty programs, but it just makes it easier for me to live my life the way I want to, which is I'm not tied into any one airline. I'm not tied into any one hotel, which of course is why the whole purpose of the loyalty program. So with the caveat that Azul, this is not my forte, my area of expertise, but let me tell you what I decide to go with. I'm an Apple fanboy, so any guesses? It's the Apple credit card, which was launched in 2019, and you get 3% back on purchases at Apple. So if I buy a new laptop, computer, or something like that, I get 3% cash back on that, 2% on all other purchases, but only if you use Apple Pay, not if you use the physical card. If you use the physical card, you only get 1% back. And there's no annual fee, which obviously I like. And there's 0% foreign transaction fee. So those are the top credit cards. I do want to share a couple things that I think are important. You have to ask yourself, what's the source of this information? And so when I saw the Forbes article, I didn't want to just share it. I wanted to look into it. So first off, here's the URL for it. And you can see they have a section at the beginning. Why you can trust Forbes advisors. And they say, our editors are committed to bringing unbiased ratings and information. Our editorial content is not influenced by advertisers. We use data-driven methodologies to evaluate financial products and company. So all are measured equal, all the various alternatives. And then they also share, you can click on it and find out what their advisor philosophy is. So I dug deeper into this, and what they say here is, it's their mission to make smart financial decisions simple. And then they say, seriously. Our editorial process is free of any outside influences from banks, financial institutions, and anyone else. So, I read this and said, okay, I think the people doing this research were looking at the facts, and they made their recommendations for seniors. This is credit card selection. It was the way they did this, was they were looking for what's best for seniors, what's best for retirees. And I walked away saying, I think they did it. Now, full disclosure, I think that the links in the article are affiliate links. They do have a list of partnerships on their website, and I looked at that. And so I'd be surprised. In fact, here, I'll leave you with this. You can see here the Wells Fargo Active Cash is a featured partner, which leads me to believe that's advertising supported. But my take on this is as unbiased as I can be. Obviously, I'm a financial advisor, so I think none of what I've shared in today's video is financial advice for you. But I just want to put things on your radar screen. using credit cards is a big part of being an American, like it or not. And what's the best credit card? Let me close with this. I should have teased this at the beginning. What's the best credit card? I don't know what the best one is, but the worst one is any credit card that you're keeping a balance on. So live your life, if you can, in such a way that you pay off your credit card balance. I think in my entire life, maybe 6 months in separate times, I've had to keep a balance on my credit card. When we moved into a new home, we ended up buying a lot of stuff for the home, and I think it took me 2 months to pay it off or something like that. And I think there might have been a month or two somewhere else, but for the most part, take all the perks, take the benefits, but pay it off. Credit cards are expensive. The interest rates are just outrageous. So anyways, enough about that. Another thing that's outrageous is when people are not thoughtful and deliberate about when they retire. Once you've reached the goal, once you've made it to not the finish line, that could be retirement, but the starting line, that could be retirement. Once you make it to that starting line, I want you to be sure that you're thoughtful and deliberate about how much longer you work once you don't need the money. Of course, there's Moore's Law. A lot of us feel more is all better. More is better, but, more time in retirement, more time of relaxing, more time of living life on your terms is also important, which is what this video up here is all about. 5 reasons to retire as soon as you can. I'll see you in there.